Normally I'm not a big fan of TMI, too much information, but in this case, I love me some TMI. They make some of the best kits for Mustangs upholstery. And I scored this off of eBay from a guy who purchased the wrong stuff for his car, and I got it for half the price of what you would pay. It came with rear seat cover, and this is all the raw stuff. You have to do your own hog rings and everything on that, and I have those. And I did it again on once on my 70 Mustang. Some of you would have recognized that video, or you can actually Google that up or go to the blog and find it. But it came with the sets for that, individual bottom seat sets, and all upgraded. This is the Mach 1 type seats. It just doesn't have the extra deluxe insignias or sets that are usually on those. So it came with those two, both of those for the bottom seats. Here's the rest of the back for the rest of the cover for the back. And then, of course, the tall Mach 1 type back covers for that. So that's all here. That's all going to happen. I really, really want to get this all done this summer, so that I can make it look somewhat decent when I'm headed to the car shows. And I think I can. All right, so welcome back to Project Sports Roof. I'm going to start, as I'm waiting for other parts and stuff, I'm going to start working on the upholstery. As you can see, this is a very nice micro suede type, but it's a horrible color. I'm just going to go back to the original. I think I showed you those in the other video when they came in. And then I inspected the back a little bit. We'll do a little bit closer, but it looks like all the springs and everything are in place. There's nothing missing. Some of the padding is a little worn, but still solid. Now, I guess it didn't get a whole lot of seat coverage, a lot of sitting on back there. The net's still in place. Once I take the cover off, I'll see what's left and see if that pad is worth saving. I also have some additional padding to go in there, or I'll have to get the form again. But the cool thing about this is I flipped it over. The original tag's still on here, so when they had it recovered, they left everything like it was. So the original tag is on here. Original tag. And what's really cool is there's a swath of original upholstery, and that's going to match up just perfectly with what I just got in. So that's good to see that still sitting there. That means they didn't mess with it too much. So that'll be over the next few weeks. We'll be working on that. I've got my hog rings. Probably need to find them. They're here in a box somewhere. But then we'll get to those before you know it. All right, that's it for now. Welcome back to Project Sport Roof. This is the rear bottom seat of the Mustang, and I'm going to strip off all the old upholstery and take a look at the status of the cushion. But you can tell here it's pretty old, as old as the car. So I'm going to take a look at that. Also, if you could notice, the frame here is a little bit rusty. So I'm going to, I don't know that I'm going to spend the time to sand it down. I won't, and I don't have anything to media blast it with, so I probably won't. What I probably will do is get some pores, anti-rust, and spray it all down before I put any more back on. So you can see this is the bot. This is where it hooks in to the hooks on the body, on the frame. So it gets in there. So basically, I have a whole set of different type of upholstery tools. This one, I don't know if it's designed for that, but this one works perfect. for getting rid of the old hog rings. Just get in there and give it a little twist, and they pop out. I'll collect those later on. I won't use those again. I have boxes of new ones, but whoops. So you use a little bit like this, grab it in here, pull it out, just give it a twist. They come off pretty easy. So I'm going to strip that all down. I'll show you the final. In fact, you can see in here, there's a lot of rust in here. So we'll probably spray that down. But I'll get this all done, and then I'll bring it back and show it to you. But there's quite a few hog rings in here I've got to release. So we'll see you in a bit. Okay, so as I get through this, I'm gonna pull this off, and I want to give a little recording on that, so what it looks like. Those are the old hog rings. And so I'm still not sure. And there's a couple places on here where it seems to me that this was a aftermarket kit put in at some point. Just the way they have some of the hog rings in and some of the places they missed. For example, down here, hoping you can see that, there's a factory tab here that should have been pulled over to capture this, and it was not. So I can't tell if it was bent. I can't tell if it was bent over when they were doing this, or because you can see this one here. Maybe you can see this one here is actually bent over, holding the spring, and this one's not. So it's hard to tell, and most of them are. There's another one right there, and most of them are. So I'm thinking maybe, and if it doesn't look like it was bent before, and I can't really tell right now, I'll be able to tell more when I take it off. It's hard to get on there. So I'll take a look at it. If not, then I would think this is hard to tell. Hard to tell if it's factory or not. But anyway, I'm going to keep pulling this off. I'll give you the reveal here in a minute. Probably more than a minute. Now there's also, as I go through here, there's also hognose rings. You can see that one here now. No, hognose rings holding the cushion and the mesh. You can see this mesh here, holding the mesh to some of the springs here. And I don't know if that's original. I don't remember seeing that before when I did the 70 Mustang, but you know, they could have changed how they did things after 3 years. We'll find out here in a few minutes. And I'm going to search the web. I want to see if I can actually find. Now, nowadays, most of this upholstery work and seats are done not in the factory, but I want to take, or in the assembly plant, they've done elsewhere and shipped in. But I want to see if I can find a video on how they actually do this for either new cars or if they've got any vintage, you know, how they did the older cars. I imagine it was by hand, but I would just love to have a copy of the video like that to see what that would look like. Oops. And this ring actually looks newer than some of the other ones. It's still got some shine to it when some of the other ones are just darn out rusty. So hard to tell. Then you can see this right here. Hopefully you can see it. I'll explain it to you. But this is actually, you know, just a end. You see the hard end of the edge of the upholstery. And rather than have it be on a metal piece, it's just stuck inside the foam, which doesn't seem like that would be something they would normally do. And I'm sure accidents can happen, but see, that just kind of ripped right out of the upholstery. It wasn't supposed to be in this hole here, but it was not. That one went flying. And some of this is just so heat tortured that it's just ripping apart. I think I've got them almost all off here. And I'll edit this so y'all have to sit there and watch me take hog rings off. That would be a less than interesting scenario. Now this one's just hog rings wrapped into the mesh, which isn't normal either. So it's like they didn't really want to hit, or maybe they couldn't. They were just find a way. Probably should have been done over here to the spring, and there is one in there, but it looks like they, if this is an after market kit or reupholstered at some point, clearly they don't. Yeah, see, that just ripped out. Because they could have hog ringed it right to here. There's one there probably holding the mesh in, but it would have been, you know, even if you did a couple of them rather than do it into the mesh, but it's hard to know. So I have to take that off. We've got a couple more here. Of course, the big deal in these cars is oftentimes when you flip the seats over, you'll actually find a build sheet or something stuck underneath here. And if this has been redone, like I think it has, then of course you aren't going to find that. But I do like the fact that they kept the original tag on there. And I think I got a picture of it earlier. If not, I'll get one. And just, I think it's cool to document those and then show them off so people know what to look for and know that there might be, you know, some extra data that they can gain from those. Of course, if you're doing a contours restoration, you'll probably want to know that. We're at the last one here. It's kind of giving me a little bit of a hassle. There we go. All right. I get smaller in the corner here, missed. All right, so I'm going to change locations here. Something stable. Sorry about the wobbling. I want you to be able to see it when I take it all off. One or two hog rings in here. Pull out. There we go. All right, so so here, so this is what I'm finding, and I'm going to have to take a picture of this. Actually, I'll do a quick video. Is that the upholstery is folded into the creases. Bring you over here so you can see. It's folded into these creases, and then gathered and pulled in here, so some of these hog rings have to come out because they're actually holding that in place, and that means I have to recreate that when I put it in, or else it's going to be all baggy and saggy. So in fact, I think that's a good thing, because if I get those in the right spot, then stretching the rest of this over is going to be just fine. So put you back up here on the tool chest, pull the rest of these out. I can bring it over here so you can take a look at that. I'll show that to you. So here you can see maybe. Nope, we'll do it this one. Here you can see where the upholstery is pulled through the cushions, and I'm hoping you can see that. And I'll edit this if you can't. It's pulled through the cushions and hog wired to one of the main supports. Push it in here. There we go. And it's about 103 degrees outside right now. I'm going to stop here a little bit. I was going to turn the fan on, but then I got to yell over the fan so you guys can hear me. Because, you know, this is all done by phone, not by heavy-duty studio recording equipment. Because ain't nobody got time for that. So if you can see, I'm pushing this away a little bit. I think we got most of that off. We got a huge amount here. So like 7 upholstery clips here. Let's see what we got here. Missing one. Couple there. Flip it. Just a couple more. There we go. All right. So now you're looking at it like I'm looking at it. This is one solid piece with this sewn in the middle. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I just kind of go with this. Probably originally done. Probably originally done, but it's just not for this. Not for this makeover. We won't be keeping that. Pad looks kind of rough. A couple of the hooks and stuff are disconnected. This would be, so I can bring them closer. This would be just one of the hooks that run all the way through and hold that. These are like 2 pieces of foam. You can see that, 2 pieces of foam. And it just peels right off. And I don't know that I'm going to reuse that at all. I just don't see any point in it. Now the question is, and see, they all are finished with this, so I got to think this was original. And I'm not sure who would do that, but so these all have to come off. If I'm looking at them carefully, hopefully you can see that. Still see all the webbing down there. And some of these are still hog wired and nose ringed in all along the seam. All along the seam there, you can see where it's into the padding. So now I'm gonna go find out where I can get some padding. There's a couple places in town that could make this for me, but I'll go online and see what I can find already pre-made. Because I just can't tell if it's original or not. I keep going back and forth. This stuff is not sewn on, but glued on. And you can see it along here, it's just glued. So I don't know if that's original or not. You can get a look at the frame here. Doesn't seem to be in too bad a shape. But it's going to get a little coating to keep it rust proof. All right, that's enough for now. We'll come back in a while and give you an update.